he ripped me. He pulled the company from under my nose.
Do you think it affected the way you now trust people?
It hurt a little bit because, you're going with trust, and, I'm a trustworthy person. So I always like to, work with people who mirror that. But it looked like trust on the surface. Isolation is the worst place for entrepreneurs to be in. I'm just telling you that now. It's the worst place for someone to be in is in isolation. You need to find yourself a community. You need to find yourself a mentor. Wear blinkers. Don't look at what your friends are doing and it's like they're streaming high and you're like on a low platform. No, just don't look at other people's. You can't say yes to everything. You can't. But one of the most powerful words in the dictionary is no. Yes, no, I can't. No, or not yet.
What if the heart's telling you one thing, but the gut's telling you another?
Yeah, so let me tell you the true story.
Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 23 of the FMU Founders Mindset Unfiltered podcast. Content is everywhere, attention spans are shrinking, and everyone's competing to be seen. But only a few people truly understand how to tell a story that cuts through the noise and actually makes people feel something. The guest I'm joined with today has built his entire career doing exactly that. He's a multi-award winning film director and producer with 25 prestigious film awards and 45 official selections, having directed and produced films that have even gone on to receive international recognition. He is also the founder of SLTV Studios, where he helps brands and organizations bring their ideas to life through visual storytelling and connecting with their emotions. Now, without saying too much, guys, he's the real deal. It is my pleasure to welcome Steve Levy onto the podcast. Steve, it's lovely to have you join us today. Thanks for coming on.
It's nice to meet you. I think you need to work for me after that speech. I'm telling you, you need to come work for me. After that speech, you need to come work for me. You need to travel around with me, just introduce me to people.
So send me a contract and we'll have it sorted.
Okay, it was really nice to meet you. Thank you for welcoming me on the show.
Now, Steve, let's get right into it. Not a lot of people know, but when you were younger, your parents split. You said it yourself. You were stood in that courtroom, mum on one side, dad on the other side, and you were surrounded by your siblings. The judge then asked you to make the toughest decision of your life. Who do you want to live with? First of all, how much pressure were you feeling at the time?
A lot of pressure. Anything to do with two parents that you love equally. There was no separation in how I loved them. So that was pressure. And I'm young. Look, I'm only like 12. I'm like really young. So what knowledge and information did I have really at full capacity to make a decision? It was pressurizing. I felt the pressure. I felt because my mum and dad were actually, one of the things is they were both calling out to me to add pressure to pressure. When I want to add pressure to pressure, they were calling out, choose me, choose me. And it's like, how do I make a decision even now? Forget about the judge telling me to make a decision, but one side and then the other side, just imagine that for a moment yourself. Imagine that for a moment for yourself, being young, just like your brain isn't fully formed, but you're only fully formed by the time you get to 21. That's what, scientists say, which is true. So I couldn't really make a decision because of the love. I had to make a decision based on other factors, which I developed a framework around, and I kind of talk about it. And I'm open to people and I talk about it, but I'm not going to tell you who I chose. As for sure, I'm not. Everybody asks you who I chose, but I'm not going to tell you. It's how I chose. It's how I did it, and I think that's the most important thing for people. Is that how you make the life, because it's life changing. That one decision could have completely changed my life. So it was pressurizing. But I did finally make a decision, and I believe I made the right choice. But when you make a choice, it comes consequences, and that's the second chapter of it as well.
Of course, there's two sides of the story all the time. There's two pages. Now, that framework of yours, head is for logic, stomach is for survival, heart is for emotion. Talk me through the framework that you created and the one that helped you make that incredible decision.
Yeah, so being such a young person, I could only think of. I mean, I add a little bit of my keynote. I add a little bit of humor to it because I can only really make decisions based on what I know. So, my head, I had to think, about the two individuals and really break it down. Like the pros and cons. I mean, it's really sad to say I'm talking about pros and cons and with my mum and dad, but I had to. That was my basic logic. I had to really think about the reliability, the consistency. Because as a child, that's what you need in life. You need reliability and consistency. So that was my head, just really the head logic was really thinking about it. I mean, the stomach one was, look, it's really basic. We've got to be fed in it. I have to have food. Yeah, I have to have food. I needed to know who could cook the best and who would deliver food all the time. And I knew that straight away because, one of them just didn't cook at all. So that was quite, easy to make. But the toughest decision I had to was the hard decision because you're really coming from a central place. Um, it was really hard because I wasn't pushing the other person away because they are still had my heart. But I needed to know really at all costs through my small history. So I had to look through my small history of who was going to be there really, especially when you're young and you kind of need someone to give you encouragement. Who always gave me encouragement, and it was all those things. That's where the heart one came. But that was the toughest bit to really think about with that framework. But I did make a decision based around that framework, and I embrace that framework. I always talk to people about that. Really use because I couldn't use any other framework. I didn't know any other framework. I'm too young to know, about psychology and different frameworks. I know multiple frameworks now that exist today, but this is a basic framework for really really basic one. So yeah, I did end up making a decision, and I did that framework really stands strong for me today, and I still use that framework to make decisions today.
Now that framework can be used. Obviously, it worked really well for you, and it still does. But it can also be used in so many other aspects. But how can this specific framework be applied for entrepreneurs that are out there?
Well, so let's talk about head being the logic part. Well, let's think about it. I don't know, you're deciding that you want to start a business, or let's say, I don't know, you're in a business, you have to make a business decision. You got to think about it. Okay. But sometimes you don't have to think about it alone. So your thinking is like, okay, let me go and get wise counsel. Let's go and talk to some other people who have been there before. I'm going to make a major decision, but I don't want to make it alone. Do you have a coach that you can call on? Do you have a mentor, which are important? So this is the head thinking. Before you make that decision, you're thinking about the options. So I'm also a life coach as well. So I use a model called the grow model as well. Your goal, realities, options, and will. So there are models out there. So the head is all about thinking about what you're going to do and also thinking about the consequences of your action. Okay, because you're gonna have to face up to that. Whatever decision you made, where you can put 100 grand down there as an entrepreneur onto a business or do some particular business deal, think about the consequences. So that's the head part of it. And also the heart part of it is like, do I feel it? I mean, sorry, the stomach part is like, how do I feel? Because your stomach is I'm not a psychologist, but I have done a lot of reading and everybody probably knows it's the second brain because it is. Because oftentimes you feel something in your gut and that's such an important thing. When you feel it in your gut and you feel that doesn't work. And as many times I felt it doesn't work in my gut and I've gone for it and I've felt the consequences of it being a failure. So always listen to your instinctiveness, which is in your
Of
stomach.
course,
It's not just for food. I mean, I said it was based on my food, but yeah,
of course.
your gut is used for your instincts. Really, it does tell you a lot as well. And in your heart, is your heart in it? You have to be honest. If your heart's not in it, you're not going to be able to work all those hours that it requires for you to be able to be successful. Your heart's got to be in it. Your heart's got to be engaged because you've got to put in the work. You got to do, as I said, you have to burn the candles at both ends in the beginning. And as time goes on, as you build frameworks in your entrepreneurial business, you can then switch it as well. So that's how the framework really works.
Steve, let me give you a quick scenario here then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say,
You're pushing me now. You're pushing me now.
no, I know. This is it. This is welcome to FMU. Now, let's say someone's using that framework to help them make a huge decision in their life, whether that's the job that they want to do, whether that's the school that they want to go to, a huge decision. What if the heart's telling you one thing but the gut's telling you another. What do you do?
Right. Wow. That's a really good question. Um, there's so many different factors because obviously we're just kind of this is just like a scenario, but it depends on the person. So if I had to put myself in that scenario, my heart's telling me one thing and my stomach's telling me the other thing. Do you know the thing is about me? Oh, and I'm not saying for other people is that if I do leap forward and go against how I feel, I take it as learning. So we can't really make mistakes. We're learning. So in a sense, like I'm trying to give a framework that works, but sometimes it might not work. You might make a wrong decision. But let's just think about life. How do we grow? We grow by the mistakes that we make. So there is not such a bad thing, to be honest. It's not such a bad thing. But if you got that conflict, that's when you need a third party. Like I said, everybody needs a business mentor. Everybody needs a coach because you can't. Why should you be an island? Isolation is the worst place for entrepreneurs to be in. I'm just telling you that now. It's the worst place for someone to be in is in isolation. You need to find yourself a community, you need to find yourself a mentor or somebody who has sound wisdom that can share with you, who's walked the path already. If you can find someone who's walked the path already, you won't have to make that to and fro decision. So my framework works, but the thinking, the head thing is go and find somebody. If you can't solve it and you're in conflict between the two decisions, go and find somebody and speak to somebody who's trusted.
And that's why so many people say this as well. When you're stuck on something, bring someone else in. You get a whole new perspective and you get a whole new opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So when I used to work in the creative industry, we had a creative team. And it's like diversity of thought. You need that diversity of thought. You cannot solve things by yourself. And then it's one of the examples I always say people when they talk about films. I said, have you seen the credits at the end of the film? How many people are there? Well, films can't be made by one person and decisions can't be made by one person. And if you do it by one person, you're in danger of actually making the wrong decision.
Now, as you know, especially as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of big decisions to make. A lot of them, and even some of them can even make or break the business that you have. When you've made a decision, how do you know that you've made the right choice?
I would say from my faith perspective, I see the fruits. If the tree is bare, I've made the wrong decision. It's that simple. If the tree has fruit, then I've made the right decision. It's that simple.
Steve, when did you start SLTV Studios?
I only started it a couple of years ago. I used to work for a big organization, corporate organization at senior level. I left there to start and go on my own, to be honest. So that's, yeah, it's a couple of years now.
Yeah, well, you guys have you've taken these years, you're built along a huge company, and you do everything. You provide everything from film to motion design to even AI visuals. How do you decide which projects are worthy of your time and which aren't?
So I don't push aside any project. Every project is worth a discussion. I don't have because it's all about me serving somebody and solving the problem. It's more about what excites me is solving the problem. These are what you just described. They're just tools. They're just tools. Whether it's AI, whether it's a camera, whether it's a video camera, they're just tools. So I don't really push aside any project. I sit down with the client. I give them like a 15 minute consultation. Let's dig deep and let's see if I can provide that service. If I can't provide the service for them, then obviously they need to see another service provider. So it's more thinking about listening to them, understanding what their ask is. And if I can provide that through what I have as a service, then I will work with them. But I do not turn any projects away.
What if a client comes up to you, they give you a few ideas, but they don't really align with with your type of style, with your ways? What do you do from there?
So if it doesn't align with I think I would say values.
Yes, values, yes.
Yeah, I would say if it doesn't align with if it doesn't align with my values, then I can then point. I know a lot of other people in the industry that it would align with their values, so I don't mind making recommendations. To be honest, I don't want to leave someone without. That's not what I'm here for. I would then line them with somebody who aligns with their values as well. So I don't do gambling. I don't do anything to do with gambling. So and I would then align them with somebody who does. So that's really that's what I do.
That's a good-hearted man, guys, I'm telling you. Now, as you mentioned before, before SLTV Studios, you worked as a creative designer manager at KPMG, a huge global organization. Now, Steve, would you say this prepared or misprepared you for entrepreneurship?
I think it added a lot of value to my entrepreneurship because when I started in KPMG, I came in as a brand designer. Because prior to that, if I go back a little bit, um, I worked as a designer, graphic designer, and I moved through the ranks. I went back to university, went to Central St. Martin's, and as I now went freelance, I think my biggest for me was freelance. That really kind of gave me the real skills that I needed. And as I got into KPMG, I think yes, it did prepare me because as I moved up the rankings from just a designer to assistant manager, then to a manager, then to senior, I moved up the rankings. And as you move up the rankings, you got to change. It's no longer your skill, it's your people skill and it's your budget skill. And it's a different type of beast. So that prepared me for entrepreneurship because I was managing money. Had money to manage, I had people to manage. And that's what business is about. It's more of a people game. It's more of actually helping your people to be able to do something for you. You're not being persuasive, but working with them as well, giving them a voice. So yeah, I'd say it definitely prepared me because there were some things that not mistakes, things that maybe I didn't do correctly that then I learned. So I was able to learn on somebody else's job. Let's just say it this way: it's cheaper to learn on someone else's job, isn't it? So learning on someone else's job, I think, was beneficial to me. So to answer your question, yes, it did prepare me for where I am today.
What about this? What was the biggest change that you weren't expecting when you stepped out of a 9 to 5, let's call it, to entrepreneurship?
There's quite a few changes because you now know that it's not about your creative skill. It's about business acumen. That's what it is about. And it's about who you know. So if you're stepping out of your role and you don't know anybody, you're going to have to find yourself a network. You're going to have to know some people. You're going to have to join some organizations. I mean, I joined many organizations. You find that who you know, and you're finding that actually your communication skills, how you pitch, your 60-second pitch, someone's there ready. You don't want to miss any opportunities because they might be the last opportunity that you have. So you're finding that you have to have other diverse skills that you require. Yeah, your skill set or, what you can do with a camera, what you can do with all these tools, that's fine. You can get somebody else to do that. You find good people to do that. But your skill as the entrepreneur is to be able to do the deals, do the numbers, and deliver and have happy clients who pay.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned building up a network because Steve, you've been able to grow a huge network just by talking to random people, just by connecting with people.
No, no. Do you know the thing is, you say I'm not a football man, but I do watch the football highlights and I am a Man City fan.
You're not a football man, are you?
I don't go to the games, but I do watch the highlights. So.
We'll forgive you for the choice of football team. Hopefully you learn more later on. But no, you weren't as big of a football person as you are now, but you once built up your knowledge about football just so you could connect with the people around you. Steve, what exactly is the importance of, first of all, speaking to random people and also just learning random bits and bobs, learning random facts here and there?
I tell you why I did that. Every week, all the guys in my office were talking football, and I felt out of the loop. I just really felt out, and I thought to myself. So I went home and I thought to myself, how can I actually engage in something that I don't? I used to play when I was younger, but I'm not really an avid. I'm not like yeah football. I'm not. They were like yeah football, and everything was football. And I thought, how can I come in, open the door, and get into that conversation? So on the weekend, I watched the highlights. That's why I say I watched the highlights because I'm just addicted now. So I watched the highlights. I read news articles, everything, just to get that knowledge. So when I went back into work, I was able to join in the conversation and I even got to know some names of football players. But why I say that's important, it's important for all subject matters. So I don't hold myself back from subject matters. If it's golf, if I know that my potential client likes golf, I'm reading about golf. If my potential client likes Olympics, I'm reading about Olympics. Because if you have all this knowledge, you could enter into these conversations. It's a gateway of entering these conversations. So when I go networking, you have to be a good listener. So I start listening to what people are saying, and then because of the knowledge and the preparation that I've done before, I'm able to enter in. So having this knowledge, say football, allowed me to enter into the conversation. And when you're entering into the conversation, you're able to build relationships. So the key thing is When you're entering the door, the the actual place is now building that relationship. But sometimes you can't enter in because you don't have the knowledge, or you haven't basically put yourself forward to know what these people know, and just to build rapport. Let's just say it's about rapport building. If you love football, I don't know what your football team is, but if I love the same football
Yeah,
team, you be
I
saying
would,
something
but
different.
I
If I called your football team, if I was able to do research and call out your football team and you didn't know that I did the research, then there's the report instantly. And that's the most important thing, because out of relationship comes good things.
and also when you're trying to sell a product or just a service to a client, it's always a good thing to connect with them emotionally, to maybe connect with the hobbies that they like doing, to find out some stuff, and it makes the whole process a lot easier, I'd say.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you have to, because the thing is that it's like going to another country and you saying, say, we'll go to Spain. We've been to Spain last year, and then my wife started speaking in Spanish. Wow, they were so impressed. I think the service got better because we started speaking in Spanish. You see, that's the difference. If the thing is, you go in the extra mile, people really respect you instantly.
Without a doubt. Now, Steve, I don't know if you caught this in the intro, but people's attention spans are shrinking, man. They are shortened. They can't sit through movies anymore. It's all about TikTok nowadays. It's all about reels, the short form.
It is. It is. Yes.
Do you think awards and award festivals still matter, or are they now outdated because of this new era?
No, short form is still important, because there's two types of stories: the short story and there's a long story. You've got the short film festival and you've got feature films. But I know people's attention spans are short, but it's the story that keeps them hooked. And I think when I was making my first film, Epiphany, one of the things I was so obsessed about is, should I have Cook lenses? Should I have an Arri Alexa? And one of my mentors said to me, Steve, stop it and just focus on the story, because the story can get people hooked in, whether they love short form. Well, the short form is actually rewiring people's brains. We know that, it's rewiring people's brains. But there are some people out there where you can hook them in because of the nature of the story. And it's all about the story. It might be an emotional story. It might be a connective story. It might be something that's happened to somebody in their family and they really want to really engage with it. So it's all about the story that can really break that cycle of short form. But so many people consuming short form, they don't really get anything back from the short form because they're moving on to the next one. They don't even have time to really absorb the information. So I think if you can hook them with the title of a story and just a synopsis of a story, you can still pull them in. I don't think long form is dead. It's still alive. I hope so, because that's what I produce. See,
Steve, do you know what's the craziest thing I've actually heard is, and I related it to me as well because it hit me. It hit me as well. Let's imagine you're scrolling through TikTok, you're scrolling through YouTube Reels or whatever, wherever it is you like. You're scrolling through maybe 10 videos in. You don't remember the first video you watched at all. Maybe there's a short period of happiness, 2-second happiness, and then you're on to the next. You're on to the next. And what you just said now about it's not about the length, it's about how what you release it can how it affects people, how it connects to people. As long as you make it connect to them.
you've got them hooked. Yeah, look, we know the hook is the thing that hooks people, that pulls them in. If you got a good hook, even if it's on the long form or short form, you've got that person. Sometimes they won't scroll. If it actually will change their life. Imagine if you are going through a situation in your life and someone's got some information, let's say it's mental health or something, and then someone's giving you some information, you're going to stop scrolling, because sometimes you're looking for something. I think, look, people not looking for anything. They're just, if you're looking for something that would change your life, you have to change your mindset. So all this, look, I am a scroller, but I limit myself because I do feel that there's a lot of creative things out there and I always need to keep on top and be current. But sometimes I come across one thing and I stop. Why? Because I'm looking to educate myself. That's my mindset. My mindset is not to just keep an my mindset is to educate, develop, so I can, move on and grow as a person. I think if people had education and development in their head, they would stop scrolling when they get to a point where they find something that's valuable. Because there is value on there, but what you're doing, you're flicking value away. And if people realize that they're flicking value away, they would stop scrolling.
Now, Steve, your short film epiphany, it had a huge effect on a lot of people because it won 15 global awards and I think over 25 official selections.
Yeah, 45 officials in
45, sorry.
yeah, 45, yeah, and then 25 awards globally. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you were also awarded best film director because of that short film as well. Steve, that's
Yes,
incredible. It's
that's right.
an
Yeah.
absolutely huge milestone.
Thank you.
When the film started getting recognition, how did you feel?
Do you know, that's an interesting one because I never had time to look back. I was always moving forward. So, for example, when I won my first award, it was like, wow. And then the second, it just kept going on and on. And I ended up in America twice. I ended up in Canada on the panel of directors. I never ever really thought about the effects of the film or how I felt about it. If my wife, she said to me, can you just stop and just look back at what you achieved and how you brought it all together from a director's perspective, producer's perspective, from a finance perspective, and all these things that you've done. It's only when she said to me to be still. And when I went and I became still and thought about it, I was quite in awe of myself and my team, not just me, but the people that I casted, the people that helped me. It made me really think about, wow, this is a really good achievement because the film was based on a true story. Do you want me to tell you the true story?
Actually, you know, tell me what the movie is about.
Yeah, so let me tell you the true story. And then the true story tell you really what the movie's about. Because people don't realize that stories are everywhere. They're everywhere. When you talk to people, they come up with stories, but only if you're listening. If you've got that inner ear, you can hear the story. So I'm in Brick Lane in 2016, minding my own business. I'm actually going to an art shop. So in Brick Lane, there's a wonderful art shop. And as I was about to cross the road, I stopped and I picked up my mobile phone because I had the maps. You know, you turn it around trying to find where you are. I'm like, trying to turn it around. All of a sudden, a hand on my shoulder. I turned around and there was a guy with a hoodie on, but his hoodie was tightened, so I could only see like a little hole in his face. And we were standing there looking at each other, just like a standoff. But what he did was he put his hands in his pockets. So I thought, oh boy, this is not going to end good. So, but we just kept staring. And then all of a sudden, he undoes the hoodie, pulls it down, and he says to me, can you help me? And it was like he transferred power over to me. It was like, oh boy, man's still alive today. It's like, well, I was like, I'm gonna live today. I'm gonna live today. But the thing it was such a beautiful day. There's loads of people around. I don't know why I felt that way. Maybe because that's what happens when you're like in East London or in sort of urban cities and stuff like that. And then I said, because I was on the edge of the road, I said, I pointed to a cap. I said, there's a cafe over there. Let's go over there and have a conversation. I went up to the cafe and I said to him, asked him his name, told me his name was Lenny. I said to him, Lenny, what's the issue? And he said, oh, I need some money. And I was like, I'm quite an inquisitive person. I don't let things pass me by. I'm a story person. So I said to him, Lenny, what's up? And then all of a sudden, when I said, what's up? He basically just downloaded his situation, problems with this, problems with that, and how he was feeling. He literally, in half an hour, downloaded everything. But one of the key things for me was to listen. It's so important to give people time who want to talk. This is a young man. I'm a stranger. He wants to talk. Men don't talk often. They don't let out things. This guy was letting out things that should have been a secret to him, but he needed to talk to someone. Maybe he couldn't talk to someone in his family, so he wanted a stranger to talk. So I allowed him to just speak, and that's the most powerful thing you can do is allow someone to just speak. So I allowed him to speak until he stopped. I didn't do anything. I just stood there and let him stop. And then he stopped. I know that in my head, I heard him say he needed some money. And I thought to myself, you know what? I can give this guy money, but he's just going to spend it. But what can I leave him, what's in me that will be even more powerful? So I said to him, Lenny, can I pray with you? Most of the time, most people say, no, or they're like, laters, bro, or whatever. That's fine. But he said, yes. And I held his hands and I started to pray with him. And people said, what did you pray about? All the stuff that he told me. Come on, he gave me enough information to, I wanted this guy to be better. And as I was praying, I had my eyes closed. And I thought, why have I got my eyes closed? This guy's a stranger. He might do something to me. I still had a little bit of fear somewhere. As I opened my eyes, he was crying. And that gave me permission to close my eyes again and let him sort of do his crying bit. And after he'd finished crying, I'd taken the money out of my pocket, gave it to him. And he hugged me it's like he transferred a story into me. That's what I can say. I look on reflection now. It's like he hugged me, like bro, he like really hugged me, and I felt like he transferred something to me. He went his way. I just watched him walk off in the distance, and I went my way. You know, something's always on your mind. I couldn't stop thinking about this thing. I just thought, this is a story. I thought, and then I had like, like you have that negative thing. It's like, no story. And I thought, yeah, no, it is a story. I thought it's a story. And I thought, you know what? This is a story. And I'm going to turn this into a film. I got home, told my wife, I said, I'm going to turn it into a film, but I didn't know how. But when I look back, like Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots going forward, but you can connect them back. When I look back in my history of my whole life was leading up to this point, all the education, all the skills and the tools, I could form a team. And I think back to what you said about working for KPMG, how did it help? It helped because I organized team for shoots and all kinds of stuff, work production companies. So all the knowledge I had, I was ready for that one moment to make this film and take it to the world as a great story to change lives.
That honestly, I'm not saying this because you're here. Honestly, sounds like an amazing story. I haven't had the chance to watch it, but I definitely will. But I just want to say, how did you? Because I haven't watched it myself, so I just want to know.
Yeah, you will. You will. Don't worry.
Oh, actually, yes, actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna ask it because I'd rather watch it and then find out. Do you know what's crazy to me is the fact that if you didn't help him, you would not have this story. You would not have this short film. Nothing would have came out of it. Steve, you literally said at the start of that interaction, you thought it's your time to go. You thought you were gonna die. You thought it was your day. Why did you decide to help him? Even after thinking of the worst, why did you decide to help him?
I grew up in a home where my mum helped strangers. She invited strangers into our house. We had to give up our bed and she looked after them. That's my growing up. That was what I was used to. And helping people is the heartbeat of who I am because we have to help one another. If you imagine a circle, if everybody gave to everybody on the left hand side, no one will be without. But that's not the case in this world. And if I can leave this planet by helping one after another in any capacity, from mentoring to coaching to whatever it is, then that's why I did it.
It's amazing, man. That's amazing. Now, Steve, awards aside, do you think Epiphany succeeded because of its craft or because audience connected to the truth behind the story?
I say it's both because when people say, "Oh, I'm going to make a short film," people think low budget. No, my film was a small movie. In my head, it was not going to be no low budget. It was a small movie. So the principles of filmmaking from Hollywood, I literally put it all into my film. Proper color grading studio, proper cameras, expensive lenses, good crew, every single thing about it. So from the production perspective, it was gonna be a small movie. Good, everything about it. So that's the production. Story is very important because everybody connected with the story. So after the film festivals, once the film was shown, people would come up to me, ask me questions, bombarding me with questions about the film so much. So then I know that advice that I got from my production, a guy who worked in production, was concentrate on story. I understand the power of story based off the success of the film.
There we go. Steve, I just want to relate back to when you said your wife was the one that told you, take a break, look at exactly what you've done. Look at what you've done. With a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't know when to stop. Absolutely. In their minds 24/7, it's work, work, work until you don't have to. Steve, do you think resilience culture sometimes justify burnout and crunch? Like, where's the line?
See, people don't realize that your health is more valuable than what you make because once that's gone, all what you've made is gone. So you can strike a balance. There's a balance to be struck here. I mean, look, whatever the things I can't talk about people's goals. Some people want to be millionaires, so they'll put everything in it but you're gonna lose something along the way. You're gonna either lose friendships, lose your health. Something's gonna give. I mean, look, something's gonna give. It's all about striking a balance at the end of the day. And people want to be seen to have so much, but I see value in friends and in people, in human beings. That's the value. We talk about true wealth. What's true wealth? Would I want to have £1 million sitting in a mansion by myself, or would I want to be surrounded by loads of people and grandchildren, all that kind of stuff? Well, that's my true wealth. It's all about whatever your mindset is, and that's my mindset because I don't want to burn myself out. I want to be able to also, yes, I do want to succeed, so I can hand the wealth over, hand the wealth over to my children. That's very, very important. But you have to sort of think about the sacrifice. Is it worth it? When you get there and you're there alone, no, I want to be there with people. That's just my take.
No, I 100% agree. What's the point of getting all this money when you don't have people that you can spend it on, that you don't have people that you can treat. It's always about the good things in
Right.
life,
Exactly.
I'd say. Now, Steve, the reason why I asked you about burnout was because, again, not many people know, as well as a film director and producer, you're also a keynote speaker and you're a certified life coach. You thought I was finished? Absolutely not. You're also an author, Steve. Your calendar and schedule has to be crazy. It must be crazy.
It's manageable. I don't make it crazy. If it's going to be crazy, it's more about how I serve people through coaching and mentoring and key. That's where it will become crazy. But it's not crazy. I think you have to strike a balance. You can't say yes to everything. You can't. How's that is, how many hours in a day you can't say yes to everything. So you have to make selections based on your family's important as well. You don't get carried away and you're away from family all the time. So it's not crazy. It's balanced. And I think that's what it is. It's balanced. I have to say no. I think one of the most powerful words in the dictionary is no. Yes, no, I can't. No, or not yet.
A lot of people have struggles saying that word no.
Of course I have.
What do you say to them?
Say not yet. That means you're delaying it for another time when it can fit into your calendar. So never say no to an opportunity. Say not yet. And sometimes the opportunity might not come back again, but you can't squeeze it in and do sub performance, or you squeeze it in and you don't give it your all just because you want to just do it. Just say not yet. If that person really values you, they will wait for you. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and if they won't, it wasn't worth it anyway. Again, it's linking back to our mental health, as we were saying before.
And that's so important. Yeah, so important. Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned to live with, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Is it ever hard to struggle? I mean, sorry, to juggle all of these things?
It is hard. Yeah, it's hard to juggle, but you have to have a set goal in mind. So, for example, I don't know how you set your goals for the year. These are the things I want to, want to do, and outside of that, I'm going to have to delay it. I can't do everything. Look, I'm a creative. I wake up in the middle of the night with a pad writing things down. I don't have to stop, but I shelve them. All these ideas, I shelve them because they become disruptors. That's all they're distracting. So you just shelve them. That's why I said you say no or not yet.
Steve, you've spoken a lot on creativity and personal growth before. What's one lesson audiences don't get from your talks that you wish was more known?
Wow, that's a big one. You just hit me with a big one, boulder there. What do audience not get from my talk, which I think they should know? Um, uh,
Or even maybe what's a message? What's the biggest message that you want to that you want to let everyone know, no matter what they're doing in their lives? What's that one message?
there's no word like failure. Failure doesn't really mean that you fail. It's just a classroom. I think people have heard that before. I would say, don't beat yourself up if something didn't go well. Just take lessons from that. I would say, just take lessons from that, and also wear blinkers. Don't look at what your friends are doing and it's like they're streaming high and you're like on a low platform. No, just don't look at other people. So don't look at other people, what they're doing. Stay focused and then use failure as a classroom for learning, because actually this is where I see it. I prefer to fail 10 times because that failure will strengthen me and give me knowledge. You know what I mean? The knowledge to come back and not, so I won't do the same mistake again. And also I can give that knowledge to other people as well. So it doesn't matter about failure. It's just a classroom. It's just a state of learning. How do you become strong? How do you become strong? You become strong through lessons learned. That's how you become. Now become wise through lessons learned. So never neglect things when they don't go according to plan. Just say, look, I've learned that one. Okay, this is what I would never do again. I remember when I was a manager. I was 21 years old. I was a manager for a publishing company. I had 21 editors and I had 15 production people to manage. I made the biggest mistake ever. I made something go to print on a 50,000 print run, and there was a mistake in there. So my director of the company called me into the office. I thought, I'm like losing my job. I'm losing my job. You know what he said to me? You made a mistake, but what have you learned? Never make that mistake again twice. And that's it. And he told me to go back to work.
Don't get me wrong, it is very easy to look at the people to your left and your right and compare yourself to them. It's very easy to feel like you're not where you're supposed to be when you're comparing yourselves to other people. And it's very easy to beat yourselves up over a mistake. And even I've been saying this for a while now, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. Mistakes are the only way that you're ever going to learn. Mistakes are the only way you're ever going to grow stronger.
Absolutely. And to the point what you just said there, think about it this way. Think about a race. And think about we're starting this race, but you was born in this day and I was born in that day. We didn't start at the same time, so we're not in the same race. Just keep thinking if everybody's looking at other people, we're not born at the same time. We're not in the same race. We're in our own race. It's that simple. And if you know that you're in your own race, you won't have to look at other people. And actually, when you see your friend being successful, celebrate with him because that clears your heart from any kind of malice. Yeah, that clears your heart. Celebrate with him. Don't say why not to his success. And that helps his gratitude. You see, the people missing gratitude. Be grateful and celebrate your friends because if you celebrate them, then you're helping yourself as well. So you're not having like there's no jealousy, there's no nothing, all those things that really are negative on you. Celebrate your friends. Just keep saying, yeah, why not? Be successful. So important.
I love it. Incredibly. Steve, what was the moment? And I want to know the exact moment.
He's pushing buttons now. Pushing buttons now.
We'd love to hear it. What was the exact moment you knew that in your head you wanted to become a filmmaker?
The exact moment.
Okay, maybe not the exact, but
Oh, so I forgot to tell you a bit of backstory. So I went drama school. Yeah, so I did martial arts. So let me use backstory now. I did martial arts from when I was 11 to I was 27 years old. And when I was 21 years old, there was a magazine called Combat Magazine. And in Combat Magazine, there was an editor who I became friends with. And he knew somebody who's in the film industry, um, does martial arts but it does it as a film. And I thought, wow, you can be a martial artist and make films. And I saw with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jackie Chan, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to basically be a martial arts film star. It didn't work out for me, but what it did learn because someone said to me, you got to go to drama school. So I went to Mount View Theatre School for 2 years and I studied there, studied Shakespeare and all traditional theatre stuff. And then after that, I came out and I decided that I needed to join an agency. So I got my equity. So someone said you need an equity card. At that time, you need to get equity. So I found out some agencies to sort of contacted them. I was joined an agency called Screenlight, which is in Shepperton Film Studios. And I worked in TV for 15 years as an extra. What I call it supporting artist. Extra, yeah. So 15 years I was on Desmond's, all those TV programs. So while I was on set, so you'd go on set for say 12 hours and you work for one. So when you're on set, you start seeing everything behind the scenes, the director, the gaffers, everybody, the camera, and you see absolutely everything. It's like a masterclass in filmmaking on the set of EastEnders, on film sets in Shepperton Film Studios. I was in Judge Dredd, Stallone's first one as well. I'm showing my age, but it doesn't matter. But when I was on that film set, when I was on Judge Dredd film set, and I was a street judge, I was dressed as a street judge, and there was practical effects. It means there was real explosions, and I saw how this thing was being made. I'll tell you, I was amazed, and I thought I want some of this, but it never happened instantly. I still continued to kind of do so. Basically, I think back in the day, people called it they call it side hustles now, but we didn't back in the day. We didn't call it side hustle. We just did an extra thing, curricular activities, and that's what I was doing. That was my passion. My passion was acting and my passion was martial arts. And it was like, then because I got onto the film sets, I could see what was happening behind the scenes and I wanted some of it. So I think that's really where it all kind of came from. It's just being on those film sets for 12 hours. I mean, I spent 2 weeks on Judge Dredd, and it was night shoots from 6 in the morning until about 10, like continuously. So I saw everything happening, things that people don't see. All you see is a finished article, but I saw stuff happening behind. I saw the cameras. I understand all the jargon as well. So that's really where it started from, with passion for filmmaking.
Another thing, when we were talking about the decision making before, the huge decision that you made was going from a 9 to 5, sorry, going from working for KPMG to then stepping onto your own path of entrepreneurship. A lot of people sat either watching this today or sat at home are facing this exact same problem of having a job but are too scared to step into entrepreneurship. What would you say to them?
See,
Mhm.
your job is important. You don't just jump, you plan.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. And never see this is what I would say as good advice. Never see your job that you're currently in as insignificant. Because what people do is that, oh, I want to start my own business. And they don't have respect for the job that they're in. But the job that you're in, there's lessons to be learned. They want to try and take, even to take them one step at a time, they want to take 4 steps at a time. But what happens is you miss out on the learning. Understand the job that you're in there for a reason, to learn something. And serve your employer and learn from your employer, then you take all that found knowledge into your entrepreneurial activity. But take your time, speak to people, get advice, plan, make sure you don't have debts hanging over your head because you still got to pay them. You've got to really, it's all about planning. Yeah, you get rid of so I see debts as brick walls that you have to climb over. If you eliminate them, then you can have a free run. So you eliminate them. So when I started, I eliminated everything. I had no debts. Just eliminate them. Just get rid of the things. Make sacrifices. Like I stopped going gym, trained at home. People might say, "Why would you do that?" Well, because it's still an outgoing. You've got to do something. So you make sacrifices for the future. And then when things pick up, then you can then jump back on it. That's what you do. So it's all about, don't despise your job. Plan, speak to people, get resources, join communities, then make the move. But always have wise counsel about when the best times to make the move as well. And you've got to have support. Like I have my wife's support. She's, behind every good man is a great woman. And she's a great, so yeah.
Without a doubt. And to the guys listening at home now, I can't stress the importance of there's no rush. I'm not gonna lie to you. There is no rush. You take things at your own pace. You make mistakes at your own pace. You reach achievements at your own pace. If you stick to your path, stick to your goals, stick to what you want to do, it'll always work out in the end.
It does. There's no rush. You see, I think this generation is rushing because, do you know what it is? I think you're being bombarded by fake news, fake things that you see on social media, and it's really making people upset, making them feel that they haven't achieved anything. They're going too slow. Look, just don't watch that. Just go at your own pace and do what you need to do for yourself and your family and your friends. That's all you need to do. Don't pay that any attention because you'll lose your way. If you pay attention to that stuff, you will lose your way.
That's it. That is it. Steve, rapid fire question for you.
You're not stopping, are you?
Absolutely not.
I'm putting up my shield now.
There's no break. There is no break. Steve, what's the best thing about your industry?
AI.
Can you elaborate?
AI, the introduction of AI. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, man, it totally blows. Look, I know AI is a threat. Everything's a threat. Technology is a threat and everything. But for me, the best thing about my industry is the introduction of AI and how it just now you can be a one-man team just from a conceptual perspective and even from a part production perspective. And also you can save some money as well and just basically do things that you couldn't do, you could think about, but you could do in a couple of hours as well. So that for me, AI is really, and just the creativity and the introduction of new technology when it comes to cameras and stuff like that as well. Yeah, it's exciting. Just the ability to be able to create something just from what you imagine.
The thing about AI is that there's always two sides, there's always two pages. Obviously, as you said, it does incredible things, things that you're imagining that you never thought you could do, but you can now do. That's one side. The other side is, as you said, it's also a threat. A lot of people see AI and despise it. They think it's gonna affect their jobs. It's gonna take over. I've heard this term a lot. AI is gonna take over. Steve, do you believe in that?
Well, AI is definitely a threat and it will take over jobs. Look, automation, when I was working in corporates, I did a bit of research in regards to automation. So they're automating things. So it's definitely going to take something away, but it is going to give something. And it is, some people have got some, I don't know, crazy things, what's going to happen. Well, maybe these crazy things will happen because the thing about this is AI in my hands is good. AI in someone else's hands could be bad. It's just whoever hand AI is in makes it, whether makes it be a threat or makes it be a means for good. That's all it is, really, at the end of the day. So I wouldn't, at my age, I ain't threatened by AI. So I'm not worried about AI. I'm embraced a bit.
It just comes down. It comes down to your intentions.
Yeah, it comes down to your intentions and it is a good tool. But look, any technology that comes in has to make way, move things away. It does. It has to move things away. I think Steve Jobs said it. He was talking about his death. He was saying that him dying is good because he's making way for others to be able to come into the creative space. So I mean, he said it. I mean, he's like, pioneer. For him, he can say that. Then I understand what you mean. So when new things come in, it does make ways and it does help as well. So I don't think it is of a negative and people go down these conspiracy theories, which possibly could be true. I'm not denying any of that stuff, but there is some good. And if it's in your hands, it's good. If it's other people's hands, we have to question. That's all.
I think it's also because people aren't really used to change.
That's you hit the nail on the head. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's a huge factor.
Yeah, it is. It's a so the thing is, when the internet came in, everybody thought, oh, there's going to be no more books. Everybody's going to get rid of books. Well, they complement each other. Look at Amazon; they make millions by just selling stuff. So, and it's a complement. At some point, AI is going to complement what we're doing. There's going to be a complementary. There is going to be a complement. At the moment, it looks like a threat. Anything that's new, and as you said, people don't like change as well. People really change management is a massive thing. So it looks like a threat, but then it would integrate, same way the internet integrated together, and they can work alongside each other. That's the way I see it.
You just have to give it some time.
Yeah, you have to give it some time. I know it's going faster, it's rapid. I have to be honest. I mean, I get updates every single day on software that I'm using, like continuously, and they're good updates as well. So yeah, it is rapid. That I think maybe because it's constantly changing so much, and I think people keeping up to that pace is quite a lot for people to take in.
I think for me, when it hit me that it was actually growing that rapidly, was seeing in 2022. I think it was 2022, the first AI video ever generated, and recently they used the exact same prompt, and the difference in the videos is insane. It's absolutely crazy.
I'm a testament to that because in 2 years ago, I cloned myself. So I've got a digital twin. When I first did it to what, and I did it just recently, completely different. It's actually more like me now. Yeah. It's actually more, it sounds a little bit, probably 95% voice, but it's more like me. It's got better. And actually they're announcing that it's going to get better. So yeah, you can see the difference. It's really rapid. Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, just trust us on this one. Just give it some time. That's it. Steve, what's the worst thing about your industry?
But clients and their pricing, they just like to knock you down and try and you, but they're not the right. See, I've realized if somebody says, "Oh, that's too much," they're not the right client for me. They don't see the value in what it is. I think that's what it is, and I think getting paid, I think, is the worst thing about the industry. People knocking you down in price, challenging you on the value that you bring, and also people struggling to pay you. If you're not going to pay someone, just don't do no work with them. It's that simple because finance heartbeat of somebody's business. So yeah, that's the thing I don't like about the industry. Anything else? I mean, look, it can be solved, but I think that's the foundation of your business is the finance. You're not in business not to make any money, are you?
Exactly. Steve, speaking of value, another thing a lot of people struggle with is finding the value for their services, for their products. How did you do it?
You have to find the clients who value that type of product. It's not saying that, look, you can put value out there, but to somebody they might not be, they might see it as value. You have to find, it's finding the right client who values that. Yeah, who values things like that. That's what it is. It's the client who values that. That's the right client for you, not others who they just they just want it cheap, but they're not for you. If they just want something cheap, then there's somebody down the road who can do it for can do it for them. That's the way I see it. Just finding the right client, making sure this is the right client, and they understand the value of it as well. I had a client where I was doing some social media, just TikTok stuff for her, building her brand and everything, and she'd never really spoken on camera. So when I showed up with my crew and everything, she was like, "Wow, is this what they do?" I said, "Well, no, this is what I do." She said, "Oh, wow." And then she started doing everything, working with us. And she did, and she, you know what? She said, "You give me a good insight into this. I never knew. I thought it was really simple." And she realized how, the preparation, like, the pre-production, the post-production, the production and the post-production. She didn't realize how much goes into a lot of these things. And then she understood the value and she understood why she was paying what she was paying. So I gave her insight now to actually why and how meticulous we are in regards to building her brand and doing all these things for her. So yeah, she appreciated it. And that is the right client that I work with.
See, when people see the price of a service or a product, they're so quick to judge, so quick to judge, but they never really think about the process behind it.
No, that's where you have to educate. That's where the education comes in. That's why I give like 15-minute consultation. I go through the whole process. I make them understand what the value they're getting. Because if they're choosing me over somebody else, they're choosing value. What the end product looks like, how the process is, and how much attention to detail and how much we are listening to what the client wants, really. So that's what it is. I think they just need to be educated a little bit more about what you bring to the table.
Now, Steve, in your journey of entrepreneurship, I'm sure you've had ups, I'm sure you've had downs. I want you to tell myself and the audience about a project that didn't go as planned and could have even failed.
Well, I had one where I got ripped off. This is really early. Yeah, yeah, really, really early. So I started in publishing. So I was in publishing for a while. So one of my colleagues in the same company said to me that, "Oh, let's do a magazine together. Let's just do like a small magazine. Let's do it for local for the southeast." And I thought, that's a really good idea because we both got the skill. I got the design skills. You got the sales skills. We thought that's a good marriage. I thought, yeah, brilliant. I thought, excellent. But I had that stomach feeling, and I completely ignored it because I was just like, "Man, we're gonna make some dough." That's what you say anyway. I thought we're gonna be successful, and I thought so. I completely ignored it. So we started off our first issue, went out with the Evening Standard, done really well. We are getting ads in, 4-page ads, quarter-page ads, and really doing our articles were good. We're getting contributed into articles. I was doing all the design stuff as well, and he ripped me. He pulled the company from under my nose because he set it up. I didn't. I was so focused on my creativity. I had no business acumen whatsoever. I didn't understand about a limited company. I didn't understand anything because I handed over my trust to this person completely 100%. And he rinsed me. He moved the business to a printers who would do all the fulfillment where it comes to the designing and the printing. And yeah, and I learned big. But one thing he did do, he gave me a contact with somebody else, and that contact then allowed me to rake back all the money that I could have potentially earned with him. I got it all back through that one connection that he gave me. So even though I lost that with him, he still left me with a nugget that I basically just really watered and really worked with the client. And I was able to, and I had that client for 5 years after. So it was fine. It hurt a little bit because, you're going with trust, and, I'm a trustworthy person. So I always like to, work with people who mirror that. But it looked like trust on the surface, and it did, but it was good. I look back now, that was a really good moment. I didn't lose anything. All I lost was the trust. Yeah, maybe some potential finance, and actually, I really understood is that just go with how you feel. That stomach. It's not just for food. It's not just for food.
Amazing, amazing. Do that instance there, do you think it affected the way you now trust people?
Now you're digging too deep. Now you're trying to get into me there. Well, look, you can size people out. Look, I mean, I going as a negative. Well, let me just say it right now. Look, it's all about values. Having a upfront conversation with somebody, talking about loads of different subject matters and scenarios. I might drop things in just to see if they have any integrity. If they lack integrity, then I'm sorry. That's the we can still have a relationship and the friendship and everything, but we can't do business together because I'm dropping these things in to understand where you're coming from. And when somebody, one of the things I've learned is when someone says they did a certain thing to somebody else and it was not good. Oh, man, I'm running for the hills. I'm running for the hills. I'm thinking I'm next. I'm running for the hills. Do people give away clues? There's clues in conversation. That's why I say listening is such a good skill. It be slow to talk and let somebody else talk. 'Cause if you let them talk, then you get a lot more information from them. As much more we give away more information than we like to. Like I'm giving you information now, probably giving you too much. But we do. And I think listen is a really powerful thing. Let somebody talk. If somebody's going to go into some business with somebody, let them talk. Let's see the values that come out of them. They mirror your values, then yes, game on. Let's go and work together. But if they don't, that value is never going to change because that's who they are. Not despising them, but they're just not for you for business. That's all.
Now that you're speaking about listening, is kind of it's made me realize that listening is genuinely one of the most important things because no matter what anyone's saying, based off how they're saying it, based off of even the littlest thing that they've said, you can genuinely judge a person based off how they speak.
Of course you can. You can make judgment.
Well, you've got an idea in your head, or you've got an idea.
Yeah, you got an idea. There's one test for yourself that I can just tell the viewers to do. One of the things I did in my coaching, so when I did started my coaching, one of the things we had to do is that we had to pair up with another person, and that other person had to talk about your favorite subject, that like football, like you, I don't know, your team or whatever. Talk about football, but for 5 minutes, but you couldn't say a word, even if they was wrong. Even if they said something wrong, you had to stand there and listen to them. That taught me so much about interruption. And it taught me so much about myself. It just really, really good test. Let someone talk about and let them say something wrong. Because what happens is, like, if I turn around and say to you something wrong about your industry, you'll correct me. Often people do. Someone says, "Oh, about my industry," I try and correct them, but that's where listening is. That test is so good. Let someone just ramble on, and you can't say a word, and that's how you learn how to listen. It's really important.
Genuinely, I've been through the exact same thing as well because when we started this podcast, I was a terrible listener. Every time, when I think when we had our first couple of guests on, they always spoke. I just wanted to jump in. I just wanted to blurt something out. I can't just hold back. But now I've genuinely understood the importance of listening. I think we've got a lot better at it, and it is a huge skill to have.
Oh, it's a powerful skill. People don't realize how much a powerful skill in every single way because you're basically getting data. Let's just say in raw sense, you're getting data from somebody, and you can crunch that data and make judgment on what you're hearing by listening. But if you're talking, they're getting the data and they're making judgment. So yeah, it's that simple.
Now, Steve, just before we are approaching the end of today's shoot, as amazing as it's been, I know you're upset.
Oh, I feel fantastic. No, I feel really good. No, no, really.
Can you tell us about SLTV Studios? What you guys provide, what you guys do, just for the audience and myself listening.
Yeah, so we are a video production company, but we don't just specialize in video. We help individuals, brands, and business, just promote their business through using these tools. So it's not as if we just say we do incorporate AI to help you even drive that even home more, the creative process even better as well. So that's exactly what we do. So we have a consultation process with you. We talk to you to find out what your problem is. We're problem solvers. Let's say that we're problem solvers, because if someone says to me, they come to me and say, I want a video, I'm going to ask them, why do they feel that they need a video? I'm digging a little bit deeper. So we provide more a strategy of implementation of the product that we might produce for you. Say you want to promote yourself on TikTok or on a social media platform, we'll do that for you. You might need something for broadcast, we'll do that for you. But we sit down, have a conversation, and understand what your goals are for this product, your goals are for whatever the video is or whatever it is. We really sit down and listen to you and deliver on what you require. That is SLTV Stewards.
Amazing, 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 amazing. Now, Steve, as a closing tradition, what we do on every episode.
Not another question.
Not another question.
I'm holding that shield up, you know. I'm holding the shield up. Another question.
It is actually another question. However, there's a bit of backstory. So for the closing tradition, what we normally do is anyone that comes onto our podcast at the end of every episode, we ask them if they're going through any pain points in their business, and if it's something that the audience listening can maybe offer their services, offer some advice. Now's a chance to do so. So, Steve, have are you currently facing any pain points that the audience can help you a little bit out on?
That's an interesting one. If I think back to our strategy, any pain points, I would say more about the networking. I wanna enlarge my network. So I really want to join more communities, like WhatsApp communities. That's how we met, I think, on the WhatsApp. So that's for me. I think I want to enlarge the communities, the online communities that are available. So if anybody knows any WhatsApp groups that will benefit from my service, then just send them my way, because I really want to now. My goal for 2026 is to enlarge my borders when it comes to networking and joining communities. So that's what I would say is a pain point. Just want to grow bigger. I want to meet more people. The more people you meet, the more wealthy is in that kind of community as well. And also the more I can give as well. So
Exactly, and there's no harm in meeting new people.
no, no, I love it. I love it.
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, guys, what we'll do is we'll put Steven's details in the description below. So if you do have any network organizations or network WhatsApp groups that you guys are part of, either send it to Steve, send it to us, we'll send it back to him, or even just put it down in the comments. We'll put it down in the comments. But Steve, I'd just like to say thank you so much for joining today's episode.
I would like to say to you, thank you very much for inviting me on the show. It's been a blast, and you're a great listener.
Oh, thank you very much. You are too.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. No, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And, yeah, that's really good.
To the audience listening at home, we hope you guys enjoyed every single second of this episode. Don't forget, we release a new episode every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 5 a.m. Perfectly in time for your morning commute to work. So just whack us on the radio and just drive your way drive your way to work. That's the best way to go. What we'll do, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and we're on Apple Podcasts, as you guys already know. So just hit us on there if you guys want to as well. Once again, Steve, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
And the guys listening at home, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.